Now we play a game.
We got Star Wars Unlimited. We got classic Star Wars games. We got old school D&D, independent RPGs, mini painting, Warhammer, of course, tons of other games. But first, we're gonna need some coffee here on Board Barista Productions.
Hey everybody, welcome to Retro Reviews, a review show where we go through my copious amounts of gaming, books, magazines, and other paraphernalia one at a time. And to join me in the Ramble Fest, we have Tanya.
Hello.
All right, and tonight we are doing the Star Wars RPG by West End Games. We are doing the Imperial Sourcebook. I always like to tell everybody where I got these books. This one is the ultimate find. So right before COVID hit, I went to Volumes bookstore to just randomly to just go check out and see what they had at Volumes. I go to the gaming, horror, sci-fi back corner, and I just look on the gaming shelf, and there is a Star Wars RPG book in the wild, and I'm just like, I don't care what the price is. Yoink! This is mine. I am not. Where the heck did this show up? Who is there more? Is there? I couldn't find any more. I'm like, if they would have had like a bunch of Star Wars RPG books in there, I would have been completely upset that there was a bunch that I missed out on, and somebody like left me the Imperial Sourcebook is the only copy of the collection, because that'd be kind of sad. But they probably had a lot of like the other really good ones and didn't have enough cash. So I'm happy I was able to find one of these out in the wild.
Now, second edition or original?
Yeah, revised second edition.
Okay.
Yeah, for the revised second edition, they basically updated a bunch of the rules. Because the game originally came out in like 84 and it got revised, updated in like 94. So it was out for 10 years. So they're just like, let's make things a little bit more streamlined and smooth. So this book, we have stats for all the Imperial personnel. Every variant of Stormtrooper, ship naval trooper. We've got Moffs. We got admirals. We got every piece of vehicle and equipment. There's actually the Skip Ray blast boat made its first appearance in this. Okay. And it was one of the ships that was heavily used in the Thrawn books, and was originally designed for the role-playing game, became part of the story canon, and then showed up all the freaking time in the novels, because there's always somebody being like, man, the Skip Ray blast boat, it's the best thing the Imperials ever had. Let's steal a bunch and use them for our own.
Yeah.
But the most important thing that we have in here is we actually have the Imperial chain of command to actually look at and see like how it breaks down. So you have the Emperor is up on top, and then you have his advisors, which the advisors oversee Compnor, which is like basically internal Imperial security. Not Imperial security, but it's like Imperial enforcement.
Yep.
It's like the cops. Compnor is basically the cops of the Empire.
Yep.
And then you also have the bureaucracy, so the Senate. Well, what was left of it before the Emperor dissolved it. And underneath of the advisors are the Moffs and the Grand Moffs, which are regional governors for different sectors and collections of star sectors in the galaxy. So like Grand Moff Tarkin was actually a ruler of a bunch of different, was the military governor of a bunch of different star systems. Now under them, you have the Ublagat, which is basically Black Ops. You have the individual planetary governors and then the military. All three of those report directly to the Moffs and the Grand Moffs. And then it becomes the whole thing of like you got your Grand Admirals and your Admirals, and then you got your captains, and it boils down like that till you get down to like the lonely Stormtrooper way at the bottom of the chain of command. Compnor is actually, I was a little bit wrong about that. It was made up of like the law enforcement and everything like that. So you had they had an adult subgroup that was part of Compnor, because Compnor is the Commission for the Preservation of the New Order. Yes, they had different groups that were part of Compnor. Was the sub-adult group. Basically, the Emperor had a youth program, much like the Führer. There was a Palpatine youth program. There was the Coalition for Progress, which was the propaganda. They were censors and controllers of science, justice, education, commerce, and the arts. There was also there was the Coalition of Improvements, the people who modified and redesigned planets to better fit the Empire. Then you had Comp Force, which was their military branch, and then you had the ISB, which was the Imperial Security Bureau, which was originally the Imperial Internal Security Bureau. So ISB in the oubliette was actually like the whole black ops. They'd go out, they'd investigate. You know, there's rebels, there's insurgents, there's stuff like this. We need to go take care of this. And the ISB was just like, Captain, we looked at your posting on the HoloNet, and we need to talk to you about something. Can you explain this? Do you want to talk? We might have to send you to Hoth type action. But what happened was, and you see now you have like everybody's like ISB, Imperial Security. They look at them as being like the Black Ops people that were going out and making people disappear and stuff like that. ISB did not have that kind of control until like towards the end of the Empire and after the Emperor, because all the senior military people got killed at the Battle of Endor. You had nobody who was rank of a Grand Moff. There was no all the Grand Moffs were gone. The advisors to the Emperor were all gone, and you had no Grand Admirals that were still around. So the director of ISB, who has the power to oversee the entire rest of the military, who everyone they have to report to is gone. You had Yanni Icehard, or Iceheart, as she was not affectionately called, was the director of the ISB, took over the Empire after the Emperor's death.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you talk about so the book talks about the military. There had 3 branches. So you had Army, Navy, and the Stormtroopers. So the Stormtrooper were basically the Star Wars version of the Marine Corps.
I was just gonna say they sound like the Stormtrooper.
A Stormtrooper is not an Imperial Army trooper. A Stormtrooper is not an Imperial Navy trooper, because those are completely different other troopers. If you want to see what a Star Wars Army, an Imperial Army trooper looks like, you watch the Solo movie, because after Han got drummed out of the Imperial Navy, he got transferred to the Army and was put on the ground. So the Army have like the helmets that are kind of Darth Vader-ish, and they have the goggles you see in, and they have that, just the chest piece from the Stormtrooper armor, and their armor is usually gray. You see that on General Veers when he's doing the AT-AT is attacking when they're ready to blow up the shield generator on Hoth and Empire Strikes Back.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He's an Imperial Army general, and when he's piloting the AT-AT, He's wearing an Imperial Army trooper uniform. In Return of the Jedi, the troopers that are there on the ground that aren't dressed as stormtroopers, though, and are piloting the walkers and that's an Imperial Army uniform. You just get a helmet and a blast vest.
Yep.
As your gear. The stormtroopers get full body armor. And then the Navy has like those weird like snow shovel helmet things.
Okay.
So that's how you can tell apart the different troopers. Then it's basically like detailed on how they all break down, so you can actually sit there and come up with like a battalion, a brigade, and go right down to individual squads and like name all of your stormtroopers and give them like squad designation markers, because this was meant to also be used with the miniatures game, so you could actually get like breakdowns on like the markings you could put on to identify like, oh, this is from like the 5th Company, 2nd Battalion, and get really detailed with like marking your Imperial Army or Navy vehicles and troopers. And the cool thing is this book actually, sometimes they would write the chapters in the books as if it was in-universe type stuff. So the book ends with a chapter on recruitment, and training, and being indoctrinated into the Imperial Army or Navy. So it basically has everything you need in case you want to run you want to use any kind of notes to figure out, okay, we got this many, the Imperials have this large of a base on this planet. This is how many troops they have. We can keep a running tally of how many stormtroopers you killed as a party to find out like how many stormtroopers they got left. You can even do it as the party has been conscripted and put into either of the 3 branches of the Imperial Armed Forces and run a campaign where if they decide to side with the Empire, you can work on tracking their promotion up through the ranks, cool stuff like that. So if you're doing anything with the Imperials, having a copy of this on your shelf is definitely a must. There's 2 other ones that basically work in the same vein. That I would say is if you're running a bounty hunter campaign, you need the Bounty Hunter Galaxy Guide, and there's also a Rebel Alliance source book and a New Republic source book, because the Rebel Alliance was kind of loosey-goosey with its organization and everything. But when they rebranded and became the New Republic, they actually modeled themselves after an actual military force. Which our current campaign, you guys are still operating like rebels. You're not operating like New Republic because you're pretty loosey-goosey with everything and doing your own kind of thing and resistance stuff. But
yeah, we're figuring out.
You're figuring it out.
We've made an enemy. And the loudmouth who thought they were the target wasn't the target. Wow. His character, Sam's characters have a tendency to draw in the
bad guys.
The negative.
Like Sam plays basically he plays the villain magnets.
Yeah.
Like he is our Xander. Like if we were on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he would be Xander.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I feel that Josh would be Spike and I'm Giles.
Yep. And I'm what's her name? She plays in band camp thing there.
Oh no. Willow. Trust me, Laura is more of a Willow than you are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. What Buffy the Vampire Slayer character do you, audience, feel that you are mostly represented by? Leave that in the comments down below. All
right. We're saying
that's all for this one. Peace.
Peace.
episode. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook at Board Barista Productions. And if you want to support us, Patreon link at the bottom.